I mean, earlier in his career, man, Paddy was knocking people out, dude. He's got power in those hands. I think we've all underestimated Paddy the Baddy, and we got to be careful with that. Remember how he caught a Dan the cheap hooker? He was able to kind of do that step through and then boom. Sometimes dude, we'll see him with that double chin, looking like the naughty professor. Let's talk about the most motivated, the best post-fight interviews in UFC history. Conor McGregor, get your together! And people like that until they don't like that, and then next you know it, shit! Now there goes my job. His power in his right hand is absolutely ridiculous. He was this close of becoming a UFC champion when he fought Charles Oliveira.
My name is Triple C. I am the greatest combat athlete of all time.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Teletape. I'm your host, Henry Cejudo, aka Triple C. And first of all, before we get started, I want to give a big shout out to my boy Anthony Constantino, founder and CEO of Sticker Mule. He's running for Congress. That's right, man. You guys make sure to show him some love and make sure that everything goes right so he can get one of those seats as a congressman. And again, guys, I'm breaking down Paddy the Baddy versus Iron Michael Chandler. Paddy the Baddy 22-3 versus Michael Chandler 23-9. Did you guys have any idea, dude, that this dude had this many losses? And that this guy right here has that many losses too? I'm actually very surprised. We have to remember and understand, dude, that Michael Chandler has been in the game for a minute. He doesn't have that many fights in the UFC, but all those fights that he had with Alvarez, all those fights that he had with Brooks and Bellator, Alvarez, I mean, this dude's fought the who's who, and I will say that. But obviously, Paddy the Baddy, I will say this, dude, the 3 losses that he has earlier in his career, but 6 KOs, 6 decisions, and 10 submissions. This is where it could get tricky for Iron Michael Chandler. The submission game from this dude. This dude does a really good job transitioning to 11 KOs from Chandler, 5 decisions, and 7 submissions. 5'8" to 5'10", obviously the height advantage goes to Paddy Pimblett. 2 reach advantage for Paddy Pimblett once again. And then again, this is what I'm looking at too. He is 38 years old. But without further ado, let's talk about Paddy the Baddy. What are his strengths? His strengths is honestly, it's his, he has a arsenal of transitioning from bottom that is strictly MMA that a lot of people don't have. And I will give him credit there. The way that he was able to catch Bobby Green with chain wrestling and then adding some submission games to it was absolutely ridiculous. You know, his mixing of the fighting, particularly when it comes to the grappling, it's definitely underrated. Power punches and bunches. I mean, earlier in his career, man, Paddy was knocking people out, dude. He's got power in those hands. He really does, man. If you go back to his earlier career, he has a lot of freaking knockouts in his resume. But that being said, you guys do not underestimate these. Don't do it. Do not do it. Composed killer. Like Paddy the Baddy could be hurting or whatever, but he kind of keeps the same. He kind of keeps the same face. I mean, if his composure is here, then it is what it is. But he's he's always looking out there to actually hunt for something big, whether it's a submission or maybe potentially throwing those hands. And another big part of his strength is he's got youth and momentum on his side. You know, he is the younger fighter at the age of 30, and he is on a 4 or 5 fight win streak. 8 fight win streak. 8 fight win streak in the UFC?
He hasn't lost in the UFC.
Wow.
6 in the UFC.
Yeah, so he's 6. His trainer's running that much. I mean, he's man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Like I think we've all underestimated Paddy the Baddy, and we got to be careful with that because he's proving us all wrong. But without further ado, let's talk about his weaknesses. Leaves his chin up and hands down. I mean, that's one thing that I will say that Michael Chandler could expose him. You know, Michael Chandler does throw a fury of fire to when he does come in. If you remember that, remember how he caught Dan the cheap hooker, he was able to kind of do that step through and then boom, catch him with that hand. If he catches you one time, that's all she wrote. So that's one thing that I will say about Paddy the Baddy. He will kind of throw his punches and he leaves his head on the center line. If he doesn't make that adjustment, he could be going night-night. And then sometimes he is overly aggressive and impatient at times. We watched that fight with Jared Gordon, and he was just going in there. He knew that more likely he was probably losing the fight. And, you know, he's going out there doing his thing, and sometimes he'll throw a little wild, a little recklessly. You do that with Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler does patient. Depending on the Michael Chandler you do get, you could be in trouble. And there's one area, his grappling is really good, and particularly if somebody does take him down or whatever that may be, but he could definitely get better off of his takedown entries. If a guy like Paddy the Baddy could get better with his takedown entries, just takedowns in general, that'll make him so much better. But that's one area where I feel like if Michael Chandler just decides to keep it on his feet, you know, Paddy the Baddy could be in trouble. And then this is, to me, this is number one. Or should I say, number one. You know, Paddy the Baddy loves to eat. There's a reason why they call him Paddy the Fatty, man. There's a reason why sometimes dude we'll see him with that double chin, looking like the naughty professor. Paddy the Baddy's gonna have to be careful because as time goes on, like your metabolism starts to change, you won't be able to shed that weight off as you used to. It'll eventually catch up to you. It's caught up to me. It caught up to a lot of freaking people. Same reason why I started missing weight at the beginning of my career. I thought I could do more than what I actually could, and it'll come back and haunt you. So that's the biggest thing, because it's not just him making the weight, but will he feel 100% recovered? And that just comes with age. And he's at that fine line where he's not that young, nor is he old, but within a few years, like we'll know where Paddy the Fatty will end up. But that's number one to me. His weight gain and how is it that he's gonna cut his weight and feel good the next day. But without further ado, let's talk about Iron Michael Chandler. Let's talk about the most motivated, the best post-fight interviews in UFC history. Conor McGregor, get your shit together. You know, what are his strengths? His explosive athleticism. I mean, Michael Chandler's explosiveness is absolutely, it is ridiculous. He does explode. Whenever he decides to pull that trigger, that shot is coming. And this is the biggest one to me. His NCAA wrestling base, even though he doesn't use it, he understands the grind of what wrestling has taught him. And he might just use it. He might want to maybe show these people that he wants to do more and more or whatnot. So he might want to take down Paddy the Baddy. And he could, but could he control him? Could he use some of that folk style wrestling to control him, grab wrists? You guys could call it Dagestani, but that's all folk style wrestling, top riding. And yeah, I go back and I talk about, you know, the one-shot KO power that he has. I mean, he's put people to sleep, dude. Like knockout of the year type candidate knockouts. His power in his right hand is absolutely ridiculous. He was this close of becoming a UFC champion when he fought Charles Oliveira. A little mistake on the IQ and tactically, but the power is there. And his level of competition and experience, he's fought Poirier, he's fought Gaethje, he's fought Oliveira, he's fought the who's in the UFC, Eddie Alvarez, Booker. He's fought everybody at 155 pounds. You know, he's just about, yeah, Dan the cheap hooker. He's fought everybody. Let's talk about his weaknesses. What are his Michael Chandler's weaknesses? He's lost four out of his 5 fights, but then that's the UFC because he's entertaining. He's an entertaining human, and people like that until they don't like that, and then next you know it, shit, now there goes my job. And that's where you got to be careful. His striking defense. Sometimes he'll go for broke. He's too much of a risk taker. And the same reason why people love him, but the same reason why he has this too. He's too much of a crowd pleaser, in my opinion. And that could really hurt Chandler because, man, he's really good. He's a talent. He's explosive. He has wrestling. You know, could he become more of a competitor than what he is just a fighter? And then he doesn't utilize his kicks enough. He's very punch heavy. He'll kick every once in a while, but he does not use it enough. If you can break somebody's foundation with kicks, even if you're a wrestler or a grappler, man, you'll get rid of a lot of problems. And I don't feel like he does that enough. And his cardio has regressed. That's a new word from Dilly Rush. Regress. You know, it's when you had something, but it's not quite the same anymore. You know, I'm not necessarily questioning his cardio. I just don't feel like his cardio, it is what it used to be. Yeah, let's get to our stats. Strikes landed per minute. Paddy the Pimblett at 4.94 to Michael Chandler, 4.49. Strikes absorbed per minute, 3.75. Wow, and this is ironic. He throws more and he gets hit less. He throws less and he gets hit more. Is that crazy? And this is where defense plays a big role in this fight. And this is why I love this stat chart, because it tells us more like where is this fight actually leaning. Takedown accuracy, 37% to 25%. Takedown defense, 53% to 63%. That's pretty close. I mean, there's a 10% difference, but if he decides that he wants to maybe surprise him with some takedowns, it could be in there for Paddy. You know, submission average, 0.64 to 2.13. I mean, interesting. Interesting, right? This is more where if I'm Michael Chandler, I'm gonna try to take it there. I'm gonna try to take it to the defense. I'm gonna try to take the fight more like it to the ground or keep it on my feet. You got two options. I wouldn't dance around because I believe it is a 5-round. It is the co-main event. I'm not sure if it's a 5-round or a 3-round. But either way, guys, this fight is going to be bonkers. And if I had to really pick and decide who is it that I would put my money on, you know what, guys? You guys may hate me for this, but I'm gonna have to go with Paddy the Fatty. I'm gonna have to go with this dude. He hasn't fought the who's, but I just feel like Paddy is gonna get this one. I really do, man. I just feel like he's a younger fighter. He's ambitious. This fight right here, the UFC is more likely going to push Paddy for the title. I think a win over Michael Chandler could get him that next title shot. Call me crazy, but remember, the UFC is not a mixed martial arts company. Number one, you know what they are? They're there to make money. They are there to market, and this dude, for some reason, is very, very marketable. A win over Michael Chandler could get him the next title shot, and I just feel like he's ready. He's fought the who's. He's got a chip on his shoulder, and I do believe that makes him dangerous. Even though he's going up against a very, very dangerous guy in Michael Chandler with very explosive power, I just feel like Paddy's ready to mix it and ready for that torch to be passed, and he's ready to take it. And this episode is brought to you by the one and only Sticker Mule. You guys want custom stickers? You guys like coasters? You guys like bobby pins? Sticker Mule has you covered. So you guys make sure to go stickermule.com and get your sticker. And again, guys, big shout out to founder and CEO Anthony Constantino as he's running for Congress in New York to become, District 21? Yeah, District 21 to become, to get a seat in Congress. You guys make sure to go out there, repost a lot of his stuff. He is there to make a difference. A CEO, he doesn't need to run into politics. He is just trying to make a difference. Again, guys, till next time, Triple C is out.